In this video, I'll show you a selection of players across different positions who could completely change your FPL draft. Some of these picks might make you rethink your entire team. So make sure you stick around until the end. You might discover the player that transforms your Gameweek 1 squad. This is Let's Win FPL. Let's get straight into it. Milos Kerkez. The first player who could completely change your FPL draft is Milos Kerkez. Liverpool have one of the most attractive fixture runs to start the season, and Kerkez could be the cheapest route into what should, once again, be one of the league's strongest defences. Now, it's only fair to acknowledge that last season was disappointing. Kerkez struggled to establish himself as Arne Slot's undisputed first-choice left-back, making him a frustrating FPL option at times. However, I'm optimistic that this season will be very different. The arrival of Andoni Iraola could be the key factor. Iraola knows Kerkez's qualities better than anyone from their successful time together at Bournemouth, and I'm hopeful he'll give him the confidence and freedom to play to his strengths once again. Just look at Kerkez's final season under Iraola. He was one of the most exciting attacking fullbacks in the Premier League, helping Bournemouth keep 9 clean sheets, while also producing 8 attacking returns. If he can rediscover that level of form, he has every chance of becoming one of the standout defenders in FPL. At the moment, Virgil van Dijk remains the safest Liverpool defensive option, thanks to his guaranteed minutes and proven consistency. However, he's also 1 million more expensive. If Kerkez can nail down that left-back spot and reproduce the attacking threat we saw under Iraola, he could offer incredible value and become the Liverpool defender that completely changes the way managers build their squads. For me, Kerkez isn't just a great Liverpool defender. He's a player who could save you 1.0 million without sacrificing too much potential. And that extra money could be the difference between upgrading another position or settling for a weaker option. That's why he's one of the biggest draft changers ahead of Gameweek 1. Joško Gvardiol. The next player who could completely reshape your FPL draft is Joško Gvardiol. At 5.5 million, he has the potential to become the cheapest reliable route into Manchester City's defence, just as they begin a very appealing run of opening fixtures. Last season was disappointing by his standards, with injuries preventing him from building any real momentum. However, if he can stay fit, I believe he has everything needed to emerge as one of the best value defenders in the game. One of Gvardiol's biggest strengths is the variety of ways he can score points. Manchester City are always capable of keeping plenty of clean sheets, but Gvardiol also offers significant attacking threat. Comfortable playing either as a centre-back or a left full-back, he is a real danger from set pieces thanks to his strength in the air, while his ability to rack up defensive contribution points only adds to his appeal. We only have to look back to his last fully fit campaign to see his potential. He helped Manchester City keep 13 clean sheets, scored 5 goals, and recorded an impressive 7.52 expected goal involvement. Exceptional numbers for a defender. There's another reason for optimism. New manager Enzo Maresca has reportedly identified Gvardiol as one of the key pillars of Manchester City's post-Guardiola era, suggesting he'll play a central role if he remains fit. Encouragingly, he's also started both of City's pre-season friendlies as the left-sided centre-back, which is exactly what FPL managers will want to see. If Gvardiol can stay healthy and cement that role, 5.5 million could prove to be an absolute steal. He has the potential to offer premium-level returns at a mid-price. And if that happens, he won't just become a popular pick, he could completely change the structure of FPL squads across the game. The big question is, can he finally put his injury problems behind him? If the answer is yes, Gvardiol could become one of the first must-own defenders of the season. Tyrick Mitchell. The next player I'd like to highlight is Tyrick Mitchell. At just 4.5 million, he could be one of the best budget defenders in the game, and a fantastic route into a Crystal Palace defence that we expect to thrive with attacking wing-backs this season. Mitchell quietly put together an excellent campaign last year. finishing on 135 FPL points, with 12 clean sheets and 4 attacking returns. What's even more impressive is that he finished just 1 point behind his much more popular teammate, Daniel Munoz, despite costing 1 million less. That kind of value is hard to ignore. While Munoz will undoubtedly attract plenty of attention because of his attacking potential, Mitchell offers a much cheaper way into the same defense without sacrificing many points. That extra million can make a huge difference elsewhere in your squad, allowing you to upgrade another position while still benefiting from Crystal Palace's defensive returns. For me, Mitchell also looks like an ideal replacement for Luke Shaw from Gameweek 3 onwards. If Palace's defense continues where it left off last season, Mitchell could quickly emerge as one of the standout budget defenders in FPL. Bobby Thomas. The final defender I'd like to highlight is Bobby Thomas from Coventry City. At just 4 million, I actually prefer him to the far more popular Issa Diop, who currently has around twice the ownership. Sometimes the best way to gain an early advantage in FPL is by looking beyond the obvious budget pick, and Thomas could be exactly that. One of the biggest reasons I like him is the bench boost chip. If you're planning to play it in Game Week 2 against Hull, Thomas looks like an excellent option, with the potential for both clean sheet and defensive contribution points. Looking beyond the opening weeks, Coventry also have a more favourable fixture run than Ipswich all the way through to Game Week 14, making Thomas a much stronger long-term investment rather than just a one-week enabler. His numbers from last season in the Championship are certainly encouraging. Thomas recorded 9 clean sheets, 7 attacking returns, and averaged an impressive 8.56 defensive contributions per match. With defensive contribution points remaining a key part of the scoring system in FPL, those underlying numbers are particularly appealing. For just 4 million, you're getting a defender who offers clean sheet potential, attacking threat from set pieces, and a reliable stream of defensive contribution points. He may not be the popular choice right now, but don't be surprised if Bobby Thomas ends up outperforming many of the more highly owned budget defenders. Sometimes the biggest rank gains come from backing the right 4 million defender before everyone else catches on. Bobby Thomas could be one of those players. Those are my favourite defensive picks, who I believe could have a major impact on the way FPL managers build their squads. Now, let's move further up the pitch and look at the midfielders, because this is where I think we could see some of the biggest draft changes before the season gets underway. Morgan Gibbs-White. The first midfielder I'd like to highlight is Morgan Gibbs-White. At 8 million and owned by just 11% of FPL managers, he's widely viewed as an overpriced option. I couldn't disagree more. In fact, I think he's one of the best value midfielders in the game, and a player every FPL manager should seriously consider. One of the biggest reasons for my optimism is the arrival of Oliver Glasner. He's a manager with a proven track record of getting the very best out of creative attacking players. Just look at what he did with Eberechiez, Michael Olise and Ismail Assar in similar attacking roles. If he can have the same impact on Gibbs-White, we could be looking at an outstanding FPL asset. From an FPL perspective, Gibbs-White ticks almost every box I look for. He's a nailed-on starter, rarely misses a minute, is the talisman of this Nottingham Forest side, takes the majority of set pieces, and is also a leading candidate for penalty duties. Those are exactly the qualities you want from an 8 million midfielder. His output last season was exceptional. He finished as the 3rd highest scoring midfielder in FPL, registering 15 goals and 4 assists, numbers that put him alongside some of the very best options in the game. Perhaps the most impressive statistic, though, is his consistency. Gibbs-White has outperformed his expected goal involvement in each of the last 4 seasons, doing so under different managers and in different tactical systems. For me, that isn't luck anymore. It's the sign of a player with genuine quality who consistently delivers beyond the underlying numbers. If Forest continue to improve under Glasner, don't be surprised if Gibbs-White becomes one of the biggest bargains in the 7 to 8 million price bracket. He may not be a popular pick right now, but I have a feeling that won't last for long. Bryan Mbeumo. The next player who could completely change your FPL draft is Bryan Mbeumo. I'm actually planning to start the season without Bruno Fernandes, despite Manchester United's outstanding opening fixtures. Instead, my preferred route into their attack is Mbeumo. The biggest reason is value. At 4 million cheaper than Bruno, Mbeumo frees up a significant amount of money that can be invested elsewhere in your squad without sacrificing too much attacking potential. Now, don't get me wrong, Bruno still has some clear advantages. His minutes are probably more secure, and he's the first choice penalty taker. However, Mbeumo often plays in more advanced positions and has even been used as a central striker. If Benjamin Šeško isn't fit for the start of the season, there's every chance Mbeumo could lead the line in the opening game weeks. Despite not having his best campaign last season, Mbeumo still produced 11 goals and 3 assists. And perhaps even more encouragingly, he actually underperformed his expected goal involvement. Bruno, on the other hand, exceeded his expected goal involvement by an incredible 10, suggesting it may be difficult for him to maintain that level of overperformance again this season. There are more reasons to like Mbeumo from an FPL perspective. He's the second-choice penalty taker, takes right-sided corners, and consistently gets into dangerous attacking areas. Some managers may prefer Matheus Cunha, who is available at the same price, but when you compare the underlying numbers, Mbeumo comes out on top. He posted a higher expected goals per 90 minutes and a higher overall expected goal involvement, giving him the edge in my eyes. As things stand, Mbeumo is my favourite Manchester United attacking option for the start of the season. He offers strong goal threat, excellent value, and most importantly, that 4 million saving compared to Bruno gives you the flexibility to strengthen multiple other positions. If Mbeumo starts the season up front and Manchester United hit the ground running, don't be surprised if he becomes one of the most transferred in players in the game within the first few game weeks. Jack Rudoni. The next player is a real differential, owned by just 0.3% of FPL managers. Jack Rudoni from Coventry City. At 5 million, he could become one of the standout budget midfielders in the game, provided he recovers in time from his shoulder injury. One of the main reasons I like Rudoni is the potential bench boost opportunity in Gameweek 2 against Hull. If you're planning to use that chip early, he could be a fantastic low-cost option who offers genuine attacking potential rather than simply making up the numbers. Last season, Rudoni was arguably Coventry's best player in the Championship, finishing the campaign with 7 goals and 6 assists. Those are excellent returns for a midfielder at this price point and show that he has the quality to contribute consistently in the final third. There's another reason for optimism. He's playing under Frank Lampard, one of the greatest goal-scoring midfielders the Premier League has ever seen. Few managers understand the demands of Rudoni's position better, and that could help him take another step forward this season. The beauty of Rudoni is that he doesn't need to start every week in your FPL team. At 5 million, he can be rotated in for favourable fixtures while freeing up valuable budget to strengthen the rest of your squad. If he's fit for Game Week 1, I genuinely believe he'll be one of the best options in the 4.5 to 5 million price bracket. And with ownership of just 0.3%, he could be the kind of hidden gem that gives you an early edge over the competition. Florian Wirtz. The next player is one I'm watching very closely, Florian Wirtz. The reason he's made this list is because of a recent interview with Andoni Iraola, who suggested that he sees Wirtz as a number 10 rather than a left winger. If that's how Liverpool line up, it could have a significant impact on Wirtz's FPL potential, allowing him to play much closer to goal while Dominik Szoboszlai operates in a deeper role. It's true that Wirtz had a disappointing first season in a Liverpool shirt. However, despite not hitting the heights many expected, his expected goal involvement was still very similar to Szoboszlai's. That suggests the underlying numbers were more encouraging than his FPL returns. For just $500,000 more than Szoboszlai, Wirtz could become a fantastic differential for managers who are willing to take an early gamble in search of an edge. Personally, I'm still leaning towards Szoboszlai. His minutes feel more secure, he is involved in set pieces, and at this stage I think he's the safer FPL pick. That said, Wirtz is definitely a player I'll be monitoring throughout preseason. If he starts showing the form that made him one of the most expensive signings in English football last summer, I could easily change my mind before the Gameweek 1 deadline. Sometimes all it takes is one tactical tweak to transform a good FPL option into a great one. If Wirtz really is Liverpool's new number 10, he could become one of the biggest differentials at the start of the season. Second, Pascal Gross. The next player I'd like to highlight is Pascal Gross from Brighton. At just $5.5 million and owned by only 8% of FPL managers, I think he's one of the best budget midfielders available and a player who deserves far more attention. Since arriving from Dortmund last season, Gross has been a model of consistency. He started every single Premier League match for Brighton and completed the full 90 minutes in the vast majority of them. In FPL, secure minutes are invaluable, and Gross offers exactly that. What makes him such an attractive option is the number of different ways he can score points. He's one of Brighton's main creative outlets, has excellent assist potential, takes corners and the majority of set pieces, and also averages almost 8 defensive contributions per 90 minutes, giving him another reliable route to points under the new FPL scoring system. As if that wasn't enough, his appeal has increased even further after taking Brighton's penalty in their latest pre-season friendly. If he can establish himself as the club's regular penalty taker, his value at $5.5 million becomes even more impressive. For managers looking to free up funds and strengthen other areas of their squad, Gross is exactly the type of player worth considering. He allows you to save money without sacrificing reliability or multiple routes to FPL points. For me, Gross ticks almost every box you could ask for in a budget midfielder. Secure minutes, set pieces, creativity, defensive contributions, and now potentially penalties. Don't be surprised if he quietly becomes one of the best value midfielders in the game. Christos Tzolis. The final midfielder on my list is definitely the most adventurous pick, and one that depends on a few things falling into place. It's Christos Tzolis, who comes with a $6.5 million price tag. At the moment, he's firmly on my watch list rather than in my draft. However, if Arsenal don't sign another elite left winger and Tzolis establishes himself as the first choice option on that side, he could become an incredibly exciting budget route into one of the Premier League's strongest attacks. Naturally, there are risks. The step up from the Belgian Pro League to the Premier League is significant, and there's no guarantee his numbers will translate immediately. But those numbers from last season were simply outstanding. Playing for Club Brugge, Tzolis scored 17 goals and provided 23 assists. He also created 135 chances, including 25 big chances. Creative numbers that were remarkably close to Bruno Fernandes' output in the Premier League. On top of that, he's an excellent corner taker, giving him yet another route to FPL points. He's also made a promising start to pre-season, starting both matches and already contributing with a goal against Girona and an assist against Real Betis. Those early signs are certainly encouraging. Right now, I still think he's a risky pick, and I won't be rushing him into my Gameweek 1 squad. But he's definitely a player I'll be watching very closely over the remainder of pre-season. If Tzolis secures a starting place and carries even a fraction of his Club Brugge form into the Premier League, he could become one of the biggest budget bargains of the season, and a genuine draft changer for adventurous FPL managers. We've covered the defenders and midfielders, but the biggest draft changes often come up front. So, let's finish with my two favourite forward picks. Two players who could completely reshape the FPL template in the opening weeks of the season. Alexander Isak. The first forward I'd like to highlight is Alexander Isak. At $9 million, he certainly doesn't come cheap. In fact, he's the second most expensive striker in the game, behind Erling Haaland. But that's exactly why I think he could become such an important FPL asset. I'm expecting a much stronger Liverpool side under Andoni Iraola this season. Following the departure of Mohamed Salah, Liverpool have lost the player who was the focal point of their attack for so many years. Someone now has to step up and become their main goalscorer, and for me, Alexander Isak is the obvious candidate. Last season is difficult to judge because he missed a large part of it through a serious injury. Instead, I'd rather focus on what we know he can do when fully fit. In a recent interview, Isak confirmed that he's now fully recovered, and if that's the case, I believe he can rediscover the form that made him one of the Premier League's most feared strikers. Just look at his last full season with Newcastle, where he scored 23 goals and provided 6 assists. Those are elite numbers, and now he'll have creative players like Dominik Szoboszlai, Florian Wirtz, and Alexis McAllister supplying him with chances. There are even more reasons to be optimistic. Isak looks likely to become Liverpool's first-choice penalty taker, and with Hugo Ekitike currently sidelined through injury, he should play plenty of minutes at the start of the season, assuming he stays fit. For managers who are planning to go without Haaland, I think Isak is one of the standout alternatives. Liverpool also have an excellent run of opening fixtures, and I'm expecting them to make a fast start. If Isak stays fit and becomes Liverpool's main source of goals, he won't just be a great FPL option. He could become the player that every non-owner is scrambling to buy within the first few game weeks. Igor Jesus. The final player I'd like to highlight is Igor Jesus from Nottingham Forest. Owned by just 5% of FPL managers and priced at a very affordable $6 million. He's a player I really like heading into the new season. He ended last season in excellent form and has carried that momentum into pre-season, scoring in all 3 of Nottingham Forest's friendly matches so far. Those are exactly the kind of signs you want to see from a forward before Gameweek 1. In his first season in English football, Igor Jesus produced a respectable 6 goals and 6 assists, but I believe there's plenty of room for improvement this year. One of the biggest reasons for my optimism is Oliver Glasner. I think he'll improve Nottingham Forest as an attacking team, and with no European football to worry about, the squad should be fresher and able to focus entirely on the Premier League. The club has also backed its ambitions by investing in both an elite manager and talented players, which should only increase their attacking potential. If you're not planning to own Morgan Gibbs-White, then Igor Jesus offers a fantastic alternative route into the Forest attack for $2 million less. That saving could make a huge difference when building the rest of your squad. There is, of course, some competition for places. Chris Wood and Taiwo Awoniyi are both capable of taking minutes away from him. But based on what we've seen in pre-season and the way he finished last year, I still believe Igor Jesus is in a strong position to start the campaign as Nottingham Forest's first-choice striker. Another thing I like is his flexibility. At $6 million, he's easy to rotate with a budget midfielder or defender, allowing you to target favourable fixtures without tying up too much of your budget. If Nottingham Forest make the strong start I'm expecting, Igor Jesus could quietly become one of the best value forwards in the game, and another player capable of changing the way FPL managers structure their drafts. And that's my list of players who I believe could completely change your FPL draft ahead of Gameweek 1. Some of these picks are safe, proven options, while others are more adventurous differentials. But they all have one thing in common. They have the potential to outperform their ownership and price, giving you an edge over the competition. Of course, pre-season isn't over yet. We'll still get more team news, injury updates, and press conferences, so don't lock your drafts too early. Stay flexible, keep an eye on the latest developments, and be prepared to adapt if new opportunities emerge. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which player do you think will have the biggest impact on FPL drafts this season? And is there anyone I've missed who deserves to be on this list? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, please give it a like and subscribe to Let's Win FPL. It really helps the channel grow and means you'll never miss any of my upcoming videos, where we'll be covering draft updates, captaincy, chip strategy, differentials, and everything you need to climb the rankings this season. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your final drafts, and as always, let's win FPL.